right, let's start with Neil Gorsuch, Justice Gorsuch. Will you be voting for him for the Supreme Court?
I'm announcing here that I'm going to vote against him. I fear that he's going to be another part of another 5-4 Roberts Court that rules for corporations, as he did in this case, and against individuals. He was in the minority in that case. He was the one dissenting vote. He really did not put himself in the shoes of that driver. The reason I focused on that was that driver had a disabled trailer that he was hauling. The wheels were frozen. It was 14 below zero. He had been waiting 3 hours on the, before getting on an interstate with us, and he was given the choice of either waiting there for 3 hours, and at this point he had hypothermia, and or he could take and he may have frozen to death because he didn't know when a repair truck would come, or he could have taken this disabled vehicle, tractor trailer with frozen brakes, which can only go about 15 miles an hour on an interstate at 2 in the morning. And as you know, at 2 in the morning people go pretty fast, and if you go over a hill and there's a tractor trailer there going 15 miles an hour, you can crash into that, and he could have killed somebody. So that's what he was told to do by the company. Instead, he unhitched the cab and went off and got warm, and he did what anyone would have done. And I asked Judge Gorsuch at the beginning of this, what would you have done? And he said, I hadn't thought about it. So he couldn't put himself in the shoes of the driver. And what this court, this Roberts Court, has done is 1-5-4 decision, has ruled for corporations and against workers and against consumers. So I'm going to be voting against him.
Let's talk about health care. Obviously, the president's bill pulled. You just heard Republican Senator Lindsey Graham say now is really the time for Republicans and Democrats to work together to try and fix some of the problems with Obamacare, like the sky-high premiums, sky-high deductibles, especially for the self-employed. Your thoughts? I
totally agree with Lindsey, with Senator Graham. That's what we need to do. Speaker Ryan, at the end of this process, said that the Affordable Care Act is now the law of the land. We need to address what's wrong with the Affordable Care Act, what isn't working. Part of that is a big part of that is the exchanges. 5% of Americans get their health care through the exchanges, and you're absolutely right. The prices have shot up. We've seen that here in Minnesota. We have ways to get those down. One, we should have a public option of some sort. I think Governor Dayton is right that using Minnesota Care as a public option is important. Also, we need to address the cost of prescription drugs. I've had a bill every year to allow Medicare to negotiate with prescription drugs, and President Trump has also said they should. So I'd like to work with him, I'd like to work with Republicans to do that, but we have to do everything we can. This is about health care now. This is not about politics.
All right. Let's talk about Russia. You have been very open in your concern about the president's potential ties to Russia. The FBI director came out and said that there's an investigation looking into those ties this week. Where are your concerns right now, and how big a deal is this?
This is a big deal. This is Russia, another power, undermining our democracy by attacking our elections. And the question now is, and what Director Comey said was that the FBI was investigating whether there was cooperation from the Trump campaign or associates of Trump, and that's extremely serious. And unfortunately, this week, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee got some new information, and instead of sharing it with the ranking member and the rest of the committee, went right to the White House, which undermined the credibility, his credibility certainly, and the credibility of his committee to get to the bottom of this. So what we need is a independent select committee in Congress and/or an independent counsel that would be appointed by whoever is under Sessions, Attorney General Sessions, who's recused himself because he didn't disclose contacts that he had had with Russians during the campaign.
Seems to be a drip drip that doesn't seem to be ending.
Yeah, and it seems to be dripping very fast. You know, it was funny because I've been in other confirmation hearings for Supreme Court justices. We did that this week, and I think we were the fourth story this week. And Russia was obviously one of them. Whether President Obama had tapped Donald Trump, and Comey said basically no to that. And then health care, of course, and then the Gorsuch hearings.
Well, Senator Franken, obviously a very busy time in Washington, so we certainly appreciate your time coming in here this morning.
Always a pleasure, Esme.
Thank you, Senator.